Hey there, welcome back to 2000 or Bust, the trials and tribulations of an intermediate backgammon player. In this case, me. My name's Ed Hall, I'm the host of Over the Board, the backgammon podcast, and I've decided to make these videos to document my attempts to become a better backgammon player. So I put the first video up a couple of days ago that was just a bit of a trial run. Learned a few things from doing that about how to go about making these videos. And I'm going to try and get into some play much quicker this time. I don't need to go through the whole talking at the start, explaining what it is I'm trying to do and how I'm going to try and do it. But I did think it might be a good idea to just have a quick look at the analysis of my last few matches, just as a refresher of what it is I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, let's have a look. So if we have a look down here, I think you'll see my last 6 matches. I often like to start when I'm playing with just a quick one-pointer, whether that's against the bot or against a player online. Just ignore this one for the moment. As soon as I started that game, I had to resign, just something that came up at home. Went okay here. But let's have a look at this. Ouch. This is the reason that I'm making these videos. I feel that I've learned a lot about backgammon, especially in the last maybe 12 to 18 months. But when I'm playing online, sometimes I just get in this sort of mode of move and click. And I'm sure there's other people out there who know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Start to become frustrated, start playing more bad moves. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying not to do here. When I did go and have a look, and I won't bore you now with the somewhat lengthy analysis here of all the terrible mistakes I made, I just had my head in my hands really, because, like I said, I feel like I have learned a lot in the last year or so. And whereas in the past, sometimes looking at errors and blunders going, but why? I've no idea what I did wrong here or why this move is better. The vast majority of the time now when I'm analysing my game, I'm doing much better at that. I have a clear idea of, okay, yes, you were thinking about this, but you didn't consider that. Making real use of that information in terms of learning from my mistakes and recognising patterns in games and when I can apply those. But what was happening here, I was tired, distracted, losing my focus, playing quickly, getting frustrated, and when it came to looking at the analysis, just going, what on earth were you thinking? And that's what I'm trying to do here, is to stop doing that. And, these videos are a way to kind of force myself to be accountable for my moves by recording a match on a very slow clock and trying to think about always the possibilities. What am I trying to achieve? What's my opponent trying to achieve? What's happening in the match here? What are the possibilities? And looking at them and not just jumping straight to a conclusion. So, some more of that today. This was fine. As you can probably guess, this was a relatively long 5-point match. This one was very quick and was decided in one game. And, my opponent actually, his checker play was fine. He played very well. I think, I won't talk about my opponent here, but what I was pleased about with myself is, if I remember, I think I got the cube decisions right. And that's a big area of improvement for me at the moment. Whereas my opponent, despite having really strong checker play, just got the cube decisions very wrong. And this is where I tend to generally sit playing 5-point matches. I'm often in that kind of 10, 11, sometimes 12, and I'd really like to work on getting those into 7s, 8s and 9s. I know I can play at that level, but I want to be able to do it on a consistent basis to hopefully meet my goal of a rating of 2000. All right, let's jump into it. So still playing against the bot today, as I said I would for the first few videos. But today, definitely going to be playing a match. Let's make it a 5-point match today, as by comparison to those other 5-point matches that I just briefly showed you in my analysis. Move feedback off, hint button off. We'll start the game. I talked briefly about the pip count in the last video, definitely leaving those on for the first few videos, although I'm looking forward to trying some videos with the pip count off and doing some live pip counting as well. But let's go. Okay, opponent playing as white has already rolled, and it looks like it must have been 6-5 for them. Let's see how we go. Okay, so double 1, I'm definitely making the 5-point. Now, this is the first thing that comes to mind, and I'm sure that's probably right, but in the spirit of what I was just talking about, what other options are there? I suppose playing 24 to 22 gives me the escaping roll here with 6, although that's duplicating the 6 that I already have here and this 6 here, so perhaps less desirable. Yes, there is the chance of being hit by leaving this blot here, and which he can hit with 1 6, 2 5, 3 4. But blocking his 6 here, I think, far outweighs any risk there, and I'm sure all of you will agree that that's the right move. Double 5s from my opponent, so probably making the 3 point. Okay, 4-3. Okay, so the option to make the 4 point and leave this blot now on the bar point. Not at all sure about that, but let's just have a look around and see what else I've got. My opponent has 10 checkers in the zone. It's kind of a blitzy more than a sort of primey formation, so I ought to have some care with splitting, although I still see a little bit of temptation in trying to make this anchor here, although again, because they don't look like they're priming, maybe that's not a priority at the moment. 2 down looks very aggressive, leaving a whole range of shots for my opponent, so I'm sure that's not the right move. Which then, of course, leaves the question, what is? Interested to have a look at this on the analysis. I'm just going to try sitting on my opponent's 4 point there. And, okay. Bringing this down gives me great throws with 6-2. Then I've got 5s and 2s to make this with. 3 tidies up that blot, and then just gives me really 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay. I don't know. Let's look at this one in the analysis and see what the right thing was to do. 6-3 hits me. And 3-6 means I'm dancing. Not much I can do about that. Okay. Now, early cubes are often takes. And I think, playing in the mode that I'm trying to avoid, I would just want to smash that take button straight away. But let's have a look at this. So, well behind in the race. There's 40-something pips behind. So that's definitely a factor to consider in whether or not this might be a pass. Nothing too scary here, quite unlucky to dance with the 3-6. Obviously something like 3-1, putting 2 on the bar is a risk for me. I feel like positionally I'm a little bit better, but it's my opponent who carries the threats here, and also the big racing advantage. So although I'm often tempted to accept early cubes, I wonder if this one is a drop. Okay, well, let's test this out. I'm going to try and say that it's a take, fully aware that that might be, if not a blunder, certainly an error. And let's have a look in the analysis about where I almost inevitably went wrong with that decision. Okay, I missed their roll. I suppose they must have rolled something to, have they added another builder here? So 2-1. I think sometimes I overlook the value of making the 2 point. And it's not like I have much else that I could do here. Certainly that's better, I think, than coming on with the 1. I'd rather be here than here, I think, with that loose checker. Bringing down a builder now is kind of, something about gates and bolting horses. So I'm going to just make the 2 point anchor and hope that's the right thing to do. Okay, so would not be unhappy with a 5 here. 4-1. Must be a hit. Yeah, nothing else to look at there, I think. 6-2 immediately return hits from my opponent. And another 4-1. Okay. Well, that looks enticing, doesn't it? Can't say anything better. So, looking a little bit like a back game here. I've got 2 anchors. Although I remember someone once giving me some advice that, don't assume you're in a back game too soon. Wow, look at this though, 60 pips behind. Okay, 4-3. So, yes, I could bring one round from the midpoint, but that's just another checker sitting here. I think probably better to make the 3 point, because really now I'm just in a wait and see. A big double here is not going to reduce my race deficit by enough to bring me anything close to level. It's really just waiting for a shot like this and trying to improve my board. 6-4 doesn't hit. I mean, it would be suicidal, I think, to come out here. Is there any benefit? I'm not really threatening to make a point here. I'm, I suppose, forcing white to move this checker, although really that's what they want to do, bring it round. So I'm just forcing them to do something they already want to do. So if that's the 6... Wait, what have I missed here? Sorry, that was the 6 undid too many times, and that's the 4. Yeah, okay, I think it's that. Okay, double 4s. So, I'm going to assume, well, not assume, let's have a look at it. This is not as good as this. Why? Well, right now, what does my opponent want to do? They want to clear their 13 point. And while I suppose this is still an impediment to them doing that, having these checkers here and the chance to come out, jump out and hit is also what I want to get. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit here, trying to think about how to explain what I mean. But I think at this stage, I'm just going to sit on the 5 point there. What do the 4s do over here? 1, 2. I definitely want to keep these here. Keep them honest while they've got 3 checkers to bring round. 3, 4. I mean, I think it's probably got to be that, hasn't it? Okay, 5, 4. So now starting to look a bit ugly here to do something like this, which I definitely don't want to do. Wasting one of these checkers. And I've still, have some attacking throws here if my opponent is forced to leave a blot. Those builders on the 9 and 8 definitely useful for me, as my main objective here is just trying to build my board and hope for a bit of luck. So the thing about a play like this is then if I roll a 6, I'm forced to come from here. I don't think I really want to. I'd like to leave a viable 6 if I can. Playing 6-4 now, I mean, yes, it's tricky for them to hit with a 1 because only 2, 1 and 3, 1 are going to cover, and that's going to leave a shot anyway. I wonder, is there any small benefit in playing it that way? Okay, let's leave that for a moment. Just look for the 6-4s here. Well, again, it just involves wasting checkers. Okay, I'm curious. I want to see what this looks like in the analysis. Not at all convinced that it's the right thing to do, but I'd be interested to see how it's affecting mine and my opponent's equity. Yes, they can definitely hit me, but hitting and covering is going to be a challenge without leaving another blot. And I'm still keeping a checker here to kind of guard this area. If my opponent's forced to leave a blot, definitely got some good rolls to build my board, which is what I'm trying to achieve here. So let's give that a go. Okay, now I'm quite happy leaving this here. It's only 1, 2 that's kind of disastrous. 1, 2, double 1, of course, would be awful, but I shouldn't have said that because now they're immediately going to throw a double 1. All right, 5, 1. So all of these are options to make the 4 point width. I mean, not necessarily on this throw, but what I'm saying is coming up with something like this is just changing a 6 to a 1. Although that's then giving me options to make points here. And I think this is a classic example of the sort of move that I just make unthinkingly. Don't know if my brain's sharp enough today to work this out or explain what I want to do here, but let's just at least have a look at some options. Okay, so if I get a shot immediately, leaving 3 blots is not ideal. So how about something like this? Yeah, I don't know. Just going to do it now, sorry. When I really don't know, I should just move instead of waffling. Just move. Just railed against myself for doing that in matches. Okay, coming on with the 2. I think it's probably making the 2 point. These guys are both still helping me make the 4 point. What would I like to see here? 6-5 would be nice. 4-1. So again, with this thinking that if I get a shot and potentially need to use both rolls to make it, I don't want to leave 2 blots here. So let's say 4, and then I can bring this up. Oop. So I've got another option to cover the 1 point. 5-1 looks nice for them, although there are a couple of like big combinations here that are going to leave shots. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Happy to come in now. I've got the spare here. No problem running out with a 6. That's one of those combinations of larger rolls I was talking about. I'd love a 4. Haven't got it. Can I make the 5? Okay. So I think, my opponent's around about a 30% chance of coming on. I definitely want to improve my chances of covering the 4 point, so playing the 3 here seems the only viable option. Even though it did offer up the double hit with 4 and 5, that was just a risk I had to take. Oh, and I've just started moving without thinking about the cube. Gammon chances are very slim. Should I have doubled on my last turn? I wasn't paying attention. Okay, that's in the past, forget about it. We'll have a look at the analysis. But this is surely a double now. If I don't cover, my opponent comes on. Yeah, let's go for it. 2 points in the bag. Got to remember about the cube. Can't remember what the position was, but I think I might have missed an opportunity to roll before to double. We'll go back and look later. Okay, off to a start. What did I do? So I moved there without even realising that I'd moved. See what I mean about moving without thinking? What had I rolled? Must have been a 5-1, which is just, kind of instinct reaction. Okay, 3-2, so I can make the 4 point. I've also got options to hit. Of the 2 options, oops, sorry, just undo this for a moment. I think hitting with the 2 is better than hitting with the 3. Hitting with the 3 here obviously gives them the chance to come on with the 5, but also gives this hit with the 1. Even though I'd like to be sitting there to, fight for a good point, as Mitchie says, I think coming on with the 2 then only offers the 4 combinations that lead to 4, not that extra roll. But regardless, I keep accidentally right-clicking, sorry. Done it again. Is making the anchor the better play here? And again, the answer is I don't know, so I'm just going to make a move and we can have a look at that one in the analysis. Okay, 3-1, so that's just, instinctively, automatically make the 5 point, although obviously my opponent is past any prime I'm trying to build here. Were there any other options? Because again, this is the sort of scenario where I just go, 3-1, make the 5 point, and then, it's not the case here, but just miss that I had a hit. Always worth having a look. Yeah, it's got to be this though. Okay, so what's the situation now? I have the anchor. My opponent's out. They have, small but not irrelevant race lead. They've got this blot here. They've got these gaps. 5-4. Okay. I mean, having the blot here enables me to come out, but I've got nothing useful to do with the 4. So definitely keeping that anchor for now. Let's do 5-4 like this. Double 5s does nothing to hurt their race lead, but so a friend of mine, someone I interviewed for the show, Cindy Bolonogoff, describes these stacks as towers of doom. And yeah, there's definitely a sense of foreboding here, a position that could kind of collapse for my opponent here. Anyway, Let's have a roll. 6-4. Well, I think I just want to wait for things to go wrong for my opponent here. You know, there's no way I'm in a race, so absolutely no point racing with the back checkers. Sit and wait. And now, okay, so something I need to learn about, to know almost nothing about, is, how match scores affect doubling decisions. Or, I won't say that I know nothing about it, but I know nothing like enough about it to make good decisions often in this sort of situation. So if anyone's got a suggestion for a good resource, if you want to leave something in the comments, somewhere, I don't know, a quick reference guide to equity at different match scores, I could look it up myself, but if you have something that's a go-to for you, please share it. So, though I need to decide, is this a take or is this a drop? So the fact that I'm ahead in the match, despite my relative ignorance about the effect of the match score, means that in general I can be a little more cautious with my cubing and my checker play. They have the race lead. They're not threatening very much though. And if anything, I feel like, well, I've got the time now. I should probably be counting the problematic rolls for them. What is difficult for them? Well, let's look at the good ones first. 6-1 is good for them, makes the 5 point. 4-1 is good. 3-1 is good. But what about the others? Like 5-2, that's just making these stacks even bigger. 4-3, means just leaving more blots or leaving a shot. Yeah, I'm not going to count them all now because I don't think that would be very interesting. Maybe if you're quicker at counting possibilities than me, you've already worked this one out. But I'm just going to take this and see what happens. Okay, 4-2. So I'm definitely just, again, the fact that I have these blots gives me, a reason to be able to run out here. But obviously 4-2, I actually can't move 4-2, but just reminding myself to think about those blots when it thinks about when it's time to leave, as well as, of course, whatever the pip count is at that point. So I want to make some more points. That looks fairly flexible. Making the 3 point looks okay. Double 4, okay, that's pretty decent for them. Gets rid of some of those gaps and also increases their race lead. Not something I wanted to see. 6-4 like this, I guess at the moment I'm just focusing on trying to make the 2 point next if I can. That gap's back there, but I think they have probably a lot fewer bad rolls than they did before I potentially in error took that cube. Okay, I want to keep this one here. I like the 6, so let's just, shuffle this guy along. Yeah. Yikes. Okay, so I'd rather stay where I am than do this, because it probably leaves more shots for me to hit and leaves more throws with which to hit them. But the fact that, gammons are a bit of a worry now, instead of just thinking about building my board, I might think about bringing all of these guys in. If I am forced to play a 6, so be it. Here it is. I'd like to see a 4. Ooh. Always worth noting when you're the lucky person. Very easy to focus on when your opponent is lucky and ignore your own, match-defining lucky rolls. 4, okay. So I want to cover this as soon as possible. He can stay there. If this comes round, that... Oh, it doesn't give me anything that doesn't already cover. Oh, except for 4-5. I know the 4 already covers. Yeah, I'm sure that's right, though. Four is on. Hit again with the 1. Oh, didn't even see what happened there. Okay. So I don't want to do this because if I offer them something like 1-3 and I'm on the bar, That gives me less chance to make plans to deal with this guy. So that's definitely staying there. Well, at least definitely not playing the 1. I could play that as the... No, I've already come on as the 4, sorry. Forgetting what's happening here. So I've come on with the 4, and yes, I definitely don't want to do that with the 1. If they come out, I want to stay as far back here, I think. Again, should actually be counting the shots, and that's something that I might, I don't know, look at in the analysis if we need to. Something I just need to get better at doing quickly myself as well, though. So, is there much difference between this and this? And although it seems a bit daft, is there any benefit to doing this? Well, what is it Phil Simborg says? Something about make the throw that your opponent least wants to see. What do they want to do here? They just want to jump over my 4-point prime and hopefully romp home. I'm a 75% chance of coming on here if I'm a hit, as well as having this plot to aim at. Oh, what about this? I don't know, looks interesting. Could be horrendous, but I'm just curious enough to see what that comes up as in the analysis. Okay, so what did they get here? They got 1 and something here. 1-4, 1-5, didn't see. Sometimes it just seems to flick by really quickly. 6-2 is not what I wanted. So, okay, well, spreading out here is an option. If they escape, I want to have options to hit back, but I think I need to decide first about what I'm doing here. This looks good. And looks better than the hit in this instance. Sorry, I know I'm not really explaining why. But yeah, I like that for the 2. Could bring the 6 up here to, try and make this 2-point, but I have to be aware of the fact that with a 6, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, I want to keep return shots. And by playing this guy here, give myself other options to hit escaping rolls. I think it's this. 1 gives them the hit I really want to come on. And I can't really improve on these guys at the moment. So is it bring another check out here, so if they don't roll a 5 or a 6, I'm attacking? Or is it bring this guy out, so if they throw something like a 6-4, more options? Maybe this. 5-2, okay, so by keeping this here, didn't allow them to step up with the 2. 5-3 is good enough. Again, didn't even see their roll. Why does that happen? Does that always happen or just occasionally? I've not noticed before. Okay, 6-3. I got a hit, I think. And if I'm hitting, this increases my chances of hitting them if they come on with the 2 and get stuck there, making the 1 point. Still got this guy to deal with, like 2-5 and 2-6. Just go back a second. If I were to move this 3, furthest it can go is here, which doesn't help with 2-5 and 2-6, if you see what I mean. If they were to come on here on their next throw, yes, this gives me a 7 to hit, but it doesn't increase my number of direct shots. So just another reason why this 3 is the right move, I think. Well, I don't seem to see any of their rolls at the moment, but that was must have been 2-5. Double 2, okay, again, acknowledge the luck that I'm getting here. So this doesn't do anything immediately, so I'm more inclined to just spread these guys out in case we've got like an escaping 6-2, got some more flexibility, more indirect shots. 3-1, oh, and I've done that. Same thing as I did last time. Completely ignored the cube. Oh my goodness, there could have been a lot of missed doubles there, couldn't they? All right, well, again, let's just brush that off for the moment. I can't remember all of those previous positions and whether I had a cube or not, but let's just try and put that behind us and focus on what is the right thing to do right now. Gammon chances are not good. 4-5 looks great. If they hop out, they could still gammon me. If they throw something like 2-6 and then a big double, got a lot of crossovers here. Interesting. Now, when I feel like it's a double, I feel like I probably missed doubles because I've not been paying attention the last few rolls, which is the thing that I promised myself I would do in this match. But can I be a little more cautious here, being the leader in the match, and recognise the risk in the what if my opponent comes on? Okay, I'm not going to leave you hanging, I just need to make a decision here now. Well, I've gone through the variables. The answer is I don't know. So on the basis that at least it's not going to mean more missed doubles, I'd rather make the mistake by doubling. Game on. Okay, so maybe I'd rather not get hit now. And the 3 here still gives me like 2 options to make the 2-point or to hit if my opponent lands there and gets stuck. If I did stay there, can I go anywhere close enough? No, not to make the 2-point. So 2-6. Sorry, I keep doing these accidental right clicks. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Scream at me through the screen. Tell me what to do. I don't know. I'm going to just leave that guy here. And let's just aim for some... I'll maybe leave those last 2 back. I'll leave this guy back. If he escapes, these look like good options. Okay, 6-2. Definitely nothing wrong with doing that. Well, is there something wrong with doing that? By doing this, if they do escape with 2-6, you know, this, at least I have a 6 to hit them back with. Although, you know, that's a very unlikely scenario. Well, not very unlikely scenario. It's a 1 in 18 chance. But removing 2-5 from the equation, I think, is the better option here. And I think I will do this just to give myself a little bit of a safety net if they do happen to roll that 2-6. Okay, 5-4 closes the board out. I've definitely had lots of luck. Sure, I'm going to take that. We're playing for the match. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to start thinking, perhaps should have already been thinking, about setting myself up in such a way that I'm less likely to leave shots. I found out a while ago, although, you know, of course, you need to count all sorts of variables, just always making sure I can play a 6-5 gets you out of trouble more often than you might think. And there's some good stuff in Michi's endgame technique about, you know, patterns of odd and even, and just kind of not having to count and remembering patterns. All of which great advice, which I'm probably just ignoring at the moment, but let me just, okay, that's my only 6. So, if nothing else, I can at least play a 6-5 here if I need to. 3-1, bear 1 off. So, don't know. What do you think? The 6-1 does then leave me with 3 checkers and vulnerable to large throws. Whereas this way, 6-1 leaves me to, yeah, okay, probably this. 4-2. Hang on. Am I not taking anything off? No, I'm not taking anything off. Okay, so be it. Sorry, I vagued out for a second there. Okay, 6-5, here we go. And unless I end up leaving a shot, there's that 6-1 that I was hoping to avoid. Just a race now. Although I fear in my cubing decisions, if nothing else. I have not played anything like as well as I could have done here. Let's see how it plays out. Okay, double one. Very happy with that. Again, no shortage of luck for me this time round. 2-1, take off with the 1. Well, in other situations, this decision would matter a lot more, wouldn't it? If my opponent was likely to be bearing off. I don't think it does matter here, so instead of trying to go through it now, let's just see if that gets pinged as an error in the analysis, and then we can look at why. 3-2, coming off with the 3, that can be the 2. Okay, well played, Ashir. Thank you for the game. Drum roll, please. Okay, so yes, about par for me, playing it around a 10 or 11. Let's have a look at what was happening here. And, you know, happy to see that actually got those cubing decisions mostly right. One error that was, you know, almost but not quite a blunder. Definitely some blunders to have a look at here. And as much as possible when it comes to this analysis, or not as much as possible, I should just always do it. I'm just going to try and do it live. If I think I know what's going on, I'm going to talk about it. If I get stuck, instead of just going and ah for 5 minutes, I'm going to say, can you please help me out? Can you jump in the comments? See if you can come up with some reason why what I did was wrong, why the best move was the best move. Yeah, it'd be great to start some conversations in the comment section about this. Okay, so that 4-3, I remember talking about this decision, although I've immediately forgotten what I was saying about it. So the correct move was, bringing 2 down. Okay, I did talk about that and dismissed it fairly quickly as just being too aggressive. But of course, you know, not much danger with being hit here. Behind already. Yeah, okay. I think I can see the merits in that move. The problems here, well, you know, I sort of ignored my own advice, didn't I? When I'm facing a kind of blitzy situation, they do have 10 in the zone. That's an argument for not splitting. And by just bringing down this 1 check and not nearly as many options to do something like, you know, make a 4-point prime on the next roll. Okay, smallish error here. I guess it just wants me to run from 13 point. Yeah, 13-9. That's interesting. What's 13-9 and 7-4? I do not know, and I'm not going to spend time talking about that. But if you want to have a look at this, if you've got an idea, I'd love to hear what you thought in the comments. I'm just going to try and focus on the blunders mostly for now, though. So 6-4, my running play here. Okay, so maybe I do need to know more about what's going on here because it's still advocating for this 13-9 play. I have, you know, safe landing space with these 2 anchors. My timing, I mean, their timing is better. Whatever I'm building here could collapse fairly soon. Oh, well, I don't know if their timing's much better, but slightly better perhaps. I can only assume that's the reasoning here. You need a better player than me to explain some of these. But like I said, you know, I'd much prefer this to be a conversation. So, yeah, at the risk of repeating myself, jump in the comments and let me know what you think. Okay, how about this double 4? So I did talk about the possibility of hopping out 2016, which was the best play here. I knew in doing so I was still being, you know, some sort of impediment to my opponent's goal to clear their 13 point. And they don't have much here at the moment to even think about making that 5 point. So I think I've answered my own question here. And maybe just knew what the right thing was to do and sort of chickened out of it a bit and played this kind of safe role in the hope of my opponent, things going wrong for them in the next few rolls as opposed to like being more active. Okay, we'll just have a quick look at some of these errors. Whereas this time coming out was the wrong thing to do. 9-5-8-2. Yeah, okay, you can see how this is continuing to build here, and you know I can always come out the next time with a 6 if I need to. And by coming out, Yeah, okay. So, I mean, not leaving a plot if I don't have to, even though it's not disastrous to be hit there. Let's have a look at these. Didn't like my 5-1. What was I trying to do here? So I'm just sitting tight, trying to build my home board. What did 9-4-3-2 do? Okay, offered up the 3 blots. And I was talking before about, in fact, I'm not talking before, on making this move, about leaving blots and potentially having to use both of my rolls to hit any checker that might be left behind. But again, being hit, 75% chance of coming on, not the worst thing. So I think, in the long run, on average, over many games, just, having as much flexibility here as possible to build points must have been the reason behind that. Okay, the double 1 here. Well, I felt like making the 1 point was right. What did it want? 7-4. Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Daft. Just didn't look at all the possibilities, which is something I said I definitely would do. Completely missed the fact that I can make the 4 point there. Half a blunder too. Okay, so the 5 is clearly right, and I was umming and ahhing about this 3. My thinking being here that I wanted the other checker to try and make the 4 point with, whereas the correct move, okay. So I could have achieved both of those goals, and again, this is not something that I looked at. I could hit, I could keep my checker here to be attacking in the sort of spaces where they're going to try and escape to, and I could remove the blot instead of by making the 4 point by lifting it out. Did not even look at that. And yeah, pretty close to a blunder, and you can see why. Okay, was this the move that I made automatically and said, wait, what move did I just make? What's wrong with 5-1 here? I guess it likes, I can see it likes the slotting play. I'm less inclined to play that when I'm already ahead in the match. It's only a small error. And I think there's nothing wrong, sometimes with just playing, in these kind of, not quite marginal decisions, but where there's a small error, that this is undoubtedly going to lead to a more complicated position. This leads to a slightly more simpler position, something that I know how to play, but I do need to always have a look at the slotting options, because on this case, a smallish error, but there's it's a habit of mine to miss opportunities to slot where it's more than a smallish error. Okay, 2 more blunders to look at here. So I was starting to worry about the possibility of a gammon here, and ignoring the fact that I could make the 2 point. Yeah, didn't even look at it, did I? Okay, and yes, certainly, I'm still going to have chances to hit. Would have been daft to shuffle forward from the 21 to the 20 point, but making the 2 point makes that hit hurt a lot more. And maybe I didn't need to be so worried about the possibility of a gammon. Although, at this stage, cube had already been turned. Okay, I can see it. I can see the argument for doing what I'm doing, but of course, just making the 2 point is the stronger play. And that's the thing. You can, persuade yourself of something by a good argument. I'm reducing my chances of gammons. In fact, I don't know, can we even see that? If I was to click on this as a cube decision, what were their gammon chances? The gammon chances are really small. Okay, yeah, I've definitely made a mess of this one, haven't I? I'm starting to think about the possibility of gammons here, and it's not really a consideration, which again makes it really obvious why making the 2 point was right. Okay, 4-1. Okay, so I'm glad that I made this move, because I'm interested to, I could have made the right move as well, and seen what the analysis said of it, but by, risking this kind of counterintuitive play of hitting allows us to see what's going on here. And, it's a big blunder, nearly a triple blunder. Bar 20, definitely the play. Although I was a little bit concerned about what happens if they do something like 1 and jump, and then I'm losing half my roll. That's curious, actually, for me. I wonder what else was on the plate here. So this is what I think I would have played if I wasn't hitting, and it's only a borderline error. I don't like the 1 here. I'd love to know your thoughts on why that is the best play. glad I did it, or, no regrets. Interesting to look at, but clearly that was not the right time to try something so audacious. The double here, okay, so what were my gammon chances in the position? Minimal, but not non-existent. Yeah, I mean, it's an error. I did and R about this a little bit. But, for me, if I'm avoiding blunders in my cube play, I mean, that's, a goal for me at the moment, so I'm not going to stress too much about that one. And the very last one, 5-2. Okay, well, this was the point at which I was rabbiting on about I need to start thinking about where I'm putting things so I'm not leaving a shot and at the same time just making moves. I'm not going to spend the time now, although perhaps I should, working out what I should have done and why. 9-4 and 7-5. Yeah, okay, I'm just not going to count it all now, but clearly this is the best move because it's going to leave fewer options for me to potentially face a shot leaving throw coming up very soon. All right, that's it. I went okay. I hope you enjoyed the video. Really would love to know what you thought either of any of my decisions, any of this analysis, about the video in general, any suggestions for what you would or wouldn't like to see in future videos. And if you don't want to leave a comment, that's also absolutely fine. I'm making these videos as much for my own benefit to try and, as I was saying, slow down, think about, look at possibilities in a sort of, what's the right term, low stress environment where I've got that big long clock and I don't need to worry about jumping to a decision, and seeing if that can help me slowly edge my way to becoming a better backgammon player. Thanks for watching.